About 30 guys could start our second civil war here in our ridiculous empire. And these 30 guys could start this civil war in such a manner that would be unstoppable and spread all across their immediate geographic region. I'll pick Southern California as the example because that region is by far the most militarily unstable region in our rotting and cancerous empire. And please be aware that what follows is not out of any training manual. It's based on actual events in the former Yugoslavia in 1991. Croat policemen, soldiers, and a couple of Muslims, about a platoon in all, captured a small Yugoslav military base. That's how they got the weapons to actually start their civil war. And be aware that there was no foreign assistance of any sort to these rebels. The assault on the base was a 100% homebrew job. Okay, so how could our imaginary indigenous rebels do the same here in the USA? First, they need to attack and take over a small and lightly secured California State National Guard armory in an urban area. Such installations usually have only a chain link fence and no field of fire on either side of the fence, plus often no guards at night, and most important, are usually chock full of serious military weapons and ammo for them, including anti-tank weapons. That's what you really need to make the jump from a riot to a civil war. You need belt-fed machine guns and anti-tank weapons. If you can't remember anything else, remember that. Okay, now back to the fun part. Street gangs in many ways resemble military units, with the exception that historically they have had no political goals at all. But what if their self-perception flips from a bunch of nihilist banditos looking for the next bottle of tequila and flips into crusaders on a mission from God and Pancho Villa? Ha ha! What party will have then? Be aware that when this flips occurs, they are an instant army and one well suited for urban operations. The point is that huge military formations could appear overnight in California without any forewarning. Instant barbarians, if you will. Sounds cool to me. Okay, back to the assault. Number one, or instant barbarians, our noble rebels, could surround the armory with sniper teams at all intersections in its vicinity. Ones on the roof overlooking armory buildings are ideal. Okay, two, next step, ram the main gate with a stolen truck or a hot-wired bulldozer if necessary. Oh, I'd like to be part of that team. Okay, three, then they could shoot dead at once any and all people there. They will not want any distractions for the next 24 hours. And hey, war is not for sissies. Four, next, they could use captured belt-fed machine guns to completely shred any responding police cars. Again, just hose them all dead straight away. With belt-fed weapons, they could stop anything the cops have. Five, they could load captured military weapons and ammo onto several pickup trucks and drive them to pre-selected locations to be distributed to fellow gang members. Six, another assault team could take over a Spanish language radio station and broadcast appeals for armed Mexican patriots. Ha ha! Not to be confused with a bunch of drunken gang members to surround both the armory and the captured radio station and generally attack police all throughout Southern California. And if you think local police attacking National Guard armories is some joke, just consider the following gangs that have been known to be active in the LA County deputies and the Los Angeles Police Department. I'm going to read their names. Okay, number one, Banditos. Two, Buffalo Soldiers. They are African American deputies. Three, the Caveman. Next, the Cowboys. then the Compton executioners, then the Grim Reapers, hey, that's a fun name, then the Industry Indians, I think that refers to the city of Industry, and the Jump Out Boys, I have no idea what that is, then the Little Devils, then the Little Red Devils, the Pirates, the Posses, the Rattlesnakes, the Regulators, the Spartans, the Tasmanian Devils, the Leafs, the 3,000 Boys, the 2,000 Boys, the Temple Station V Boys, and the Wayside Whiteys. Okay, those are actually gangs. I don't know if there's a polite term for them, but I suppose you could call them associations right now active in the LAPD and the Southern California police departments in general. And just think about those names: banditos, regulators, rattlesnakes, devils. Give me a break. I knew those guys who took over that military station in Perusic. I knew a lot of them. Okay, sounds like a fun bunch. Okay, and the mayor of Los Angeles is haranguing the local cops not to cooperate with the feds enforcing immigration laws. The lady mayor thinks this is a Carnival Cruise blubber bag. No, you stupid Chuck E. Cheese blimp. You are effing with a civil war, and a civil war without EBT cards, and you and your fellow gimme moochers will all starve. Okay, this imaginary but very plausible raid would fill the streets of Southern California with tens of thousands of gangbangers who would attack police and cause so much damage and chaos that the police would be overwhelmed and the riot would engulf all of Southern California for sure and likely spread to all Hispanic cities, the entire Southwest. Then the National Guard would roll up within 48 hours with armored vehicles and boom, 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 it's Yugoslavia, USA. At this point, the rebels must use anti-tank weapons from the armory to stop the National Guard tanks. Please note well that if the rebels have belt-fed machine guns and anti-tank weapons, that's how they jump the gap from mere riots to actual civil war. I'm going to say that again. Please note well that if the rebels have belt-fed machine guns and anti-tank weapons, that's how they jump the gap from mere riots to actual civil war. Then our beloved and feared emperor, Trumpus Maximus, would have to roll out federal military regulars to crush rebels, who by this time have transformed Southern California into a Mad Max land of fires everywhere and millions trying to evacuate in cars stuck in huge traffic jams, the likes of which had never been seen before. What great film this will make for all the world to see. Now, note, our beloved and feared emperor, Trumpus Maximus, should immediately order the removal of all military weapons and ammo and other military supplies from armories in urban areas and store them under heavy guard somewhere in remote and heavily guarded desert areas. And it is worth noting that our beloved and feared emperor has declared the need for a sort of internal anti-riot force. This is straight out of my book, Civil War II. I pointed out that the old USSR had exactly such an army for putting down internal revolts, and that we would be getting one in due course, regardless of which so-called party is in the White House. And we need a way to federalize local police, just like the president can now federalize the state National Guard. We must not have two separate chain of commands in our military formations. Frankly, myself, I don't care two bits if this empire implodes. I know it will, but I don't want it to happen too soon. I'm 78 years old, almost deaf, and socially dependent. I can barely walk a block, and I'm too old and useless to participate in any activity other than maybe a pickleball, and I will likely be one of the first to starve during Civil War II. And one last micro rant. I don't give a flying flamingo about debates about anybody's so-called rights. Rights are for citizens and nations and not for slaves and serfs and empire. It's just a bunch of fantasy blabber talking about rights, yours or mine or anything else. This civil war is unfolding like a Tijuana alley fight and will only get worse. Okay, support your local elected county sheriff and stockpile food. And I guess I want to say one last thing. I don't know whether this revolt in Southern California is going to start as a revolt of street gangs taking over a National Guard armory or local cops taking over a National Guard armory and getting those weapons. Either way, it's going to cook off. So good luck to all of you, but we're not going to have much. Bye-bye. See you next week.